time now for Coming In Hot with Brent Wallace and former Ottawa Senator Jason York.
Welcome. It is Monday, May 5th, and you are now tuned into the Coming In Hot podcast with Brent Wallace, former Senator Jason York, myself, Graeme Nichols from the Hockey News. Fellas, what's going on?
Does Wally still have the Ebola?
I can't get over this thing. Yeah. I spent all weekend in bed trying to figure this out.
It's got the Travis Hamonic no move clause.
Hold on.
Well played.
I got to get rid of this Werther's. People are going to hear me just sucking on this.
How old are you? Does anybody? Anyway, never mind.
Hey, a Werther's goes great with an afternoon coffee. So I've got my coffee and my Coming In Hot mug, enjoying a Werther's. I had my chocolate cookie earlier here. I'm gonna drive people nuts.
Thank God.
Come on. Good. Werther's can be enjoyed by all ages, Wally. Goes excellent with coffee.
We're gonna have to get some Werther's like ad reads soon.
This show is always brought to you by Bet365. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Hey, just a reminder, Wednesday, big show, just to promote that Shane Pinto will join us as he heads over to the World Championships. It was announced today that he's headed to the World, so that's exciting. Nick Matt-Palo also going. I am shocked, by the way, gentlemen, as we get into this, how many guys have declined to go this year. And I think there's a fatigue around because of four nations of players accepting to go. That being said, Sidney Crosby's going, and now Marc-Andre Fleury and Nathan McKinnon for Canada, which great for Canada. But
McKinnon's going.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you more shocked that Linus Ullmark raised his hand and said, "I'll go," and then Team Sweden's like, "Nah, we're good."
Yeah.
Did that happen?
Yeah. Ullmark said he wanted to go, and they're like, "Thanks, but no thanks. We're good with."
Really?
Yeah.
Who are they taking? Who are they taking?
They got Markstrom. Markstrom's going. Like he's the big dog. But they had
really,
was it Urson for Philly? And I can't remember who the third goalie was.
I'm taking Ullmark over Markstrom right now.
They're both very good. Like I just don't understand why they wouldn't want more like a good secondary option if you're going to roll with Markstrom. It doesn't make a ton of sense, but who knows?
Crazy.
I saw it somewhere. I can't find it now, but anyway.
Yeah.
A lot to get to today. Obviously, the Senators players had their bag day on Saturday, which we can get into. And then General Manager Steve Staios and head coach Travis Green spoke this morning at the CTC. Wally, any big
You mean
surprises?
the Seinfeld episode? They said nothing?
Yeah, nothing. Hold on a sec, Graeme. Are you hosting the show today? I just realized this.
I don't know. Like Wally had the whiteboard. Like he's diagramming plays, and I don't know.
Come on. Wally's getting soft, eh? He's had the whiteboard out now for 4 days.
It's the off season. Don't I get to
his voice is I will say his voice is bouncing back though.
I thought you were supposed to have like a hot toddy or
a Werther's and a coffee.
No, Werther's isn't good for a sore throat because it sucks out all the moisture. You don't want to be doing that. You need like a Neo-Citron. Go old school, Wally. Remember Neo-Citron?
I like Neo. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, there you go. Get some of that in you. You'll start feeling better.
I'll be asleep before the show's over.
You need some vitamin D too. You're like pasty white right now. Get out in the sun. Like, have you been outside in the last 4 days?
Not really. I've been I'm trying to get over this nonsensical whatever I have.
Wally ripped me this morning for being out in the sun too much. You can't tell.
Graeme shows up in the media center.
Yeah,
he's like a giant lobster.
No, I was out on by the Ottawa River yesterday. It was awesome. Beautiful day. Beautiful day by the river.
Yeah. So are we officially wrapped? No more media days. It's closed up shop here. Done.
So today was the media clean out the locker day because we all had to take all our gear home that we have left there through the season. So yes, today was the official, we'll call it the end of the season.
Yeah. Do you know what? Speaking of the media and media gear, hold up your mic flag there, Wally, for a sec there so everybody can see it. That Coming In Hot mic flag got a lot of attention this playoffs. Wally, I'll give you this. I don't give you a lot of comments.
No.
Your mic game and your scrum game was outstanding in the playoffs. The coming in hot mic flag was getting in there, body position. You're like getting to the, in the playoffs, how everybody coaches talk about playing inside the dots. Wally played inside the dots in the playoffs. It was playoff scrumming. He was in there. And a lot of times you saw the coming in hot mic flag front and center, just pushing out TSN and Sportsnet, get in there. Well done, Wally.
Thanks. You just got to know how to play the game.
Yep, you're right in there, getting your nose dirty.
Veteran
Didn't make everybody happy.
So where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the player availabilities?
Wow.
Do you want to start with the coach and GM? Like, what would you like to do, Wally?
Let's wow.
Where are we going
You're just hey Yorkie, don't blame me anymore. This guy went right past the chit chat.
There's always room for chit chat. We could just integrate it throughout the course of the show.
We'll integrate.
Later in the show, we're going to go over our past picks from round 1 and then get our picks for round 2. And we'll see if there's a change of who the smartest man in hockey might be on this little show.
You know what I tried last night? And I just did it because it was a massive payout. I had a feeling Hellebuyck was going to have a really good game last night, albeit the really good game didn't start till after the first period. Then he played exceptionally. Yeah. Hellebuyck to get a shutout was crazy. Like $10 bet paid you $275. So I'm like, $10. Hellebuyck shutout. I think St. Louis scored within the first 2.5-3 minutes.
Just throw that out.
See you later.
Yeah. No, then there was talk about pulling him, right? Like, what do you do? Do you pull him after the one period?
You can't.
What a
game. That was a tremendous game. Well, obviously they made the right call right up until the last, whatever it was, 1 second to go. They ended up tying it, but he played good after crazy. The amount of mental sharpness and sticking with it that had to go through his, because you're fighting your own mind at that point, because you're probably thinking to yourself or trying to keep it out of your brain. What have I done? Like, it's not all on him. It's like this, that was a career defining moment for Connor Hellebuyck. If they lose that series, so many fingers are going to be pointed at him. Like pulled three times.
Can
you? You're going to be the Vezina Trophy winner. That's crazy.
Potential Hart.
He's going to win the Hart. He's going to win the Hart.
Yeah.
Graeme voted for him.
Yeah, he was my first guy.
He's got him one on the ballot, and he could be pulled 3 times in the first round.
I had him first. And I had McKinnon too. And McKinnon didn't even make it as a finalist. But can you guys recall a player who was that dominant in the regular season who just completely crapped the bed? You
know what?
Like
yes.
Who do you got?
Alexei Yashin was an Hart Trophy finalist, 94 points, and was invisible against the Buffalo Sabres. So
I'll attest to that. And I love
Go on.
Mike Peca just shadowed him. Like he couldn't get him out of the way. And so Alexei Yashin was he was fairly invisible, that one. That's for sure. Hart Trophy finalist.
Anyone else come to mind? Just Yash?
I
can think of other sports, but
it's a good question. I wasn't prepared for this. I'm the one with the question. This will be the last time you host a show. This show, by the way, brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, which is proudly Canadian owned and operated since 1972 with more than 85 locations across the country through Charm and their sister brands. Get custom ring building delivered in less than 4 weeks with the Charm Masterpiece program and unbeatable pricing policy. Check out a large selection of Canadian lab-grown diamonds. Mine diamonds don't pay until 2026. Apply for the Charm Diamond Flexity card today and get approved for no interest financing on your purchase in minutes. For more information, go to charmdiamondcenters.com. Chosen forever, Charm Diamond Centers.
Not bad. Not bad. Well, not bad.
Not your best.
Not your best, but you know what? All things considering, not too bad. Not too bad.
You got to fight through it.
Yeah, and this show also brought to you by our good friends at Merkley. Merkley Supply has over a century of passion, expertise, and the highest quality masonry supply. From Canada's Supreme Court to your home's front steps, no matter your project, Ottawa, Merkley is proud to set that in stone. So if you're looking for stone, brick, landscaping products, or specialty building supplies, you can count on Merkley Supply. So go to merkleysupply.com or visit their showroom in Hittenburg. I've been there. It's fabulous.
They do great work.
They looked after me. House looks amazing. Thank you, Merkley. Merkley, mark every milestone.
Coming in Hot is also brought to you by Club EG's City Match Play Championship. This Match Play Championship takes place in Ottawa. It's for golfers of every skill level. There's a division for any skill, any age, and yes, males and females. There's some team divisions as well. You can enter any division that suits you, and you get matched up in a bracket-style match play golf tournament that is for Ottawa and its surrounding golfers. Check out the details at citymatchplay.golf. Individual divisions, team divisions. There's no reason not to play in this great city championship since they cater to even those who shoot over 100. You will always compete against someone of similar skill. Check it out at citymatchplay.golf.
By the way, lots of people asking questions about when am I chatting with Biz next time or having him on the show.
Well, we got to do that. Yeah.
Plan it for the, it'll be the summer, if you will. Let's get through the playoffs. He's a little busy, and then we'll.
You got to build your tolerance up too, Wally, because you're not a pot guy.
My son's all over it. He's like, this is going to be awesome.
Well, he's like, remember, he's like, am I going to have to smoke a doobie? Some hash?
I love the Doobie Brothers, but yeah. Anyway, back to today. The only things we really learned, Graeme, is that it sounds like they're going to keep their first round pick from for this year. So which would mean next year they have to possibly hand it back, or maybe we'll see if something else happens. And the other thing was we don't really know what's going to happen with Claude Giroux, except they want him to come back.
Yeah, he's coming back. That's my gut. That's my gut. I think when you listen to people talk about him, Graeme, like guys especially the young guys, like him and Pinto were so tight. The way Brady speaks of him, he's obviously going to take a pay cut, but at this point in Claude Giroux's, and I don't want to speak for him, but I would just think if it was me, like he's made a ton of money during his career, and nobody wants to sell themselves short, but I think they'll make it work. There's so many interesting dynamics, and you're right, Yorkie. Like you listen to the guys speak about him, whether it's like Steve Staios or the players themselves, and like everyone just speaks with such reverence for like not just the player, but like the competitor and everything he does off the ice to like prepare himself for the season, and just the details, the attention to details and everything else. Like he's a leader through and through. And I mean, if he leaves, that's just a huge hole just within the leadership department. And even in the faceoff dot, I know Ottawa struggled in the first round against Toronto, but like he was the best faceoff guy in the league this year at over 60%. And like, there's just so many elements that he brings that are just so valuable. But like at the same time, it's like I think it comes down to like what is the cost, and like you don't really know. And I know like Claude talked about this at his conference. He hasn't thought about his contract. He hasn't thought about anything. I talked to Wally on the way home from Toronto after game 5, and
with
like
the music on,
and like I mentioned like Taylor Hall's contract. Like Taylor Hall's 4 years younger than Claude at 33 years old, and he just signed a 3-year extension at $9 million. Like he took a discount to play in a situation that befitted him, and he played at a really high level, rejuvenated his career in Carolina. And I wonder if that kind of contract is going to be a factor, because like if a guy really enjoys the situation, he loves his teammates, he loves the city, his family's in the city. Maybe this is a situation where he'll take a discount so the team can allocate more money to players to insulate the group.
I would say,
this board, just a sec, hang on, Yorkie. This board is his totals when he's played for the Ottawa Senators over 3 seasons. So he ranks 4th in goals, 2nd in assists, 4th in points, 4th in shots, 5th in time on ice. He did deliver everything that he basically was brought here to do, and that was provide offense. My question is, it's not the money. Although I don't think this is going to be a substantial decrease in his compensation package, can he continue to play as a top 6 forward for the Ottawa Senators? And we doubted his foot speed 3 years ago. That maybe not have been factually correct, although it seems, can he do it now? Because Tim Stützle needs somebody on that wing that's got speed.
Yeah. I think Graeme brought up a couple of great points there. Number one is faceoffs. And if you look at the Ottawa Senators right now, if you take Claude Giroux out of that mix of guys that take draws, especially shorthanded, and especially when you start 3-on-3, they'll use Claude a lot to go out and get puck possession right away on that opening 3-on-3, and that's a ton of points that are up for grabs every regular season. Because you got to think towards the playoffs, but I'm gonna give everybody a harsh reality here. Just getting to the playoffs is, as we know, really, really tough. So for the Senators to get back, it's going to be extremely difficult. And Claude Giroux, to me, is a guy that can help you do that. And Taylor Hall comparison's a really good one. Hall's a former MVP winner.
Yeah.
He's a guy, I don't know what the numbers are, but it probably sounds probably around the ballpark and what you'll see Claude Giroux sign for here. And here's the thing, and you hear this all the time from players on the team, how competitive he is, how much he wants to win. We have guys on the record that say he's the most competitive guy on the hockey team. One of the first things to go when you become an older guy, when you know that it's time to retire, is you're not as competitive anymore. And this guy is still as competitive as ever. And once you lose, it's called your edge. It's time to get out of the game because you can't play in the NHL without that edge. He still has that. He still has that. And I thought his last playoff game was his best of the series. The other thing, too, is you remember a couple of years ago, they didn't use Giroux in penalty killing situations. Now they're using him on the penalty kill. They're using him for key draws, especially. But he used to just take the draw and come off. Now he stays on and kills. So he's kind of like he's got that element to his game now, too, where it's not just about producing points and being a quote-unquote top six. It's being a well-rounded player that can help the team. So he can help the team in the PK. He can help the team with face-offs. In an 82-game schedule, I foresee Claude Giroux, a guy you can move up and down your lineup, up and down. I do think they're probably going to have to add another top six, but man, oh man, before the show, we were laughing. Graeme and I were going through the list of UFAs. It is slim pickings out there. So easier said than done, but I still think he's got gas left in the tank. And the number one reason, competitiveness. Like this guy still wants it. And you can't deny that.
I think people who think he's going to be making $3 million next year are going to join me with the biz smoking a joint because there's I don't believe it's below 5.
Why? We all don't want good times.
His number this year was 5.5. That's what he made this year in real dollars. 5.5.
I understand, but that's because he was a front end loaded contract. His AAV is 6.5. I don't think it's much lower than 5, if that.
We'll see. The cap is going
up.
Like
so Peron came in at 4.
He still finished 4th on the team in scoring, or 5th on the team in scoring with 50 points.
No doubt. But he also played the whole season with Timmy and Brady, right? So it's like
it doesn't.
You got to take everything into account, especially so we've talked about slotting, like we've talked about Fabian Zetterlund throughout the course of the postseason slotting. Like where is the fit for Fabian Zetterlund? I think you can have that same conversation about Claude next season, where it's like okay, like if you want to improve this team and get them from like that middle territory to the upper echelon of the rest of the league, you have to make significant improvements in the top 6 to get Brady and Timmy like an insulating force up front. And I think who where does that come at? It comes at the expense of Claude Giroux, unfortunately.
No, hang on. Why can't you put Drake Batherson on the top line, we'll call it? And
that's what I said last show, Wally.
Yeah, but we don't always listen to you.
Okay.
And then I don't know if Giroux is the second line player with David Perron, because I think that's not probably
speed factor. Yeah. But I mean, like maybe really Greg's the second line left winger next year. Like, there's so much internal growth. You talk about the internal growth, and that like the team can obviously improve if the young players improve. Like Dylan Cousins, we've talked about. Like I think he'll potentially have another gear that he can get to personally. And I think Timmy Stützle still has another gear.
He needs a player.
Yeah, I think personally, like if you can find an Ehlers or someone with some speed who can play with the puck and create for the offense, I think like that would be huge. But like Yorkie said, it's a very thin free agent class, and I think there's going to be, especially with the escalating cap, there's going to be so much competitive offers for these guys because teams will have more money. That it's going to be really interesting to see what they do, because I as enticing as playing with Tim Stützle and Brady Tkachuk is, I think there's going to be a lot of competition for some of these high-end guys.
Yeah. If you like David Perron proved to me, wherever you play him, he's going to be a factor. They put him on the fourth line in the playoffs, and all of a sudden the fourth line started playing well and getting chances. And put him back with Cousins and Bathan. When he first came in, we had him on the show. He was great. He was supposed to be on the third line with Pinto and Amati when they're talking about the identity. So he could very easily. I could see that big time, Graeme. Perron going down to the third, playing with Pinto and Amati, and it's not even going down because it's still a super important line. And then you elevate Greg to play with Cousins, and does Giroux play there? You can mix and match a little bit, but Ehlers would be, oh my God, what a fit. You imagine that speed playing with Timmy Stützle, and you got Brady on the wing going to the net like that. That to me is the ideal guy, but that is going to be an absolute bidding war for that guy's services, especially
he's
coming back.
Young, yeah.
Relatively young, great speed. He's going to get you 20 plus every year. He's a good passer too, competes. He was lights out in that game last night for Winnipeg too. And how about this? He turns over that puck. They score in last night's game. He's the GOAT. Looks like they're going to lose the game. It's like, imagine what's going through his mind. I'm going to be a free agent. We're going to lose. I just lost myself probably $5 million a year. And then the last second, he makes that unbelievable cross-ice pass to Connor. They score. He's a big part of it. The whole narrative's all of a sudden changed. And now that they're going to the second round, this guy's going to make a ton of money this summer. A ton. Someone's going to pay him a lot of money.
Yeah, but why can't Ottawa do it?
They could.
Sure they could.
But I mean, so that's the question. Like, I asked Steve Staios this morning, I guess, about the right defense situation. Like, I think like one of the biggest concerns for me, and I wrote about it yesterday for the Hockey News, is like Nick Jensen did not disclose what his injury was, what prospective options are available to him, whether it'll require surgery, what his timelines will be. And that was your de facto second pairing guy who was not himself in the second half of the season. Statistically, like the numbers were poor, and visibly you see him walking with a limp throughout the course of the second half of the season. And now you're in a situation where it's like, if he doesn't have a proper offseason to recover, recuperate, train, and get himself at a high level, like he turns 35 in the fall, not the youngest guy in the league anymore. Like that's potential. That's a huge concern, because I think they're thin on the right side to begin with. And then you're put in a position where, like, I don't think you want Nick Madden-Palla playing top 4 minutes. You have Carter Yakimchuk who's coming in, who probably needs a year of seasoning at the AHL level. So what do? I think it puts a ton of pressure on these guys.
Travis
to go out.
Hamonic is coming back.
It's a Wally.
I love it.
Stop.
What a dude.
No, stop.
Cue the music, Jake. Cue the go.
Stop.
We got it. Wally, another year of hammer, another year of time.
Couldn't help himself.
We gotta get talking about getting guys on the
Yorkie,
show.
I got a question.
We need Hammer on the show.
We will try. He did try to stay out of the media spotlight for the most part, just because of all the stuff that was being said about him.
He was unbelievable though on Saturday. Like his exit interview with the media was absolutely unbelievable. And if people haven't had a chance to listen to it, go to the TSN 1200 website and watch it.
How about you just go to our account?
Have you posted it in its entirety?
Yes.
You post the whole thing. There you go. I'm sorry.
On Twitter, on X, if you will.
I didn't realize. I thought you just posted a snippet of it. I didn't realize you posted the whole thing.
No. Don't worry about Wally stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, just watch whatever you want to watch. Don't worry about the show.
I'm kicked off the show.
This will be Graham's last show. If you can leave the mug on the porch.
Yeah, I'll drop it off after the show. I'm sorry.
Don't watch our podcast. Just go to TSN 1200. Get everything you need right there.
Yorkie,
Graeme was hitting it out of the park too. Oh my God. Where do we go?
I do have a question for you, Yorkie. We all believe it to be like a hip flexor issue with Jensen. But does a hip flexor require surgery? And if not,
could have a sports hernia. It could be a sports hernia.
Is it a sports hernia?
Yeah. It sounds like that. And that's a pretty easy surgery. If that's not easy, you take some time off. But there's best doctor in the world, I believe, in Montreal. hop up there, get it done.
But why
Yeah,
not? If that's the case, like why not get that done in January when it first happened? Like why not? Why wait until
Well,
the end of the
because
season?
they're fighting for a playoff spot, and he
Yeah.
wanted to play through it. That's why.
Yeah. And you
Like,
can. It's just you just got to manage it.
Because the recovery for that's not particularly long, correct?
sports hernia.
Yeah.
I forget.
Oh, I think it's
2
I
months?
feel
2
like
months?
it's 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never had one, so I've had pulled groins and pop groins, and those take like 6 weeks. But yeah, the sports hernia, I believe it's the way they do it now. It's a lot quicker, but still, it's surgery, and you got to see what happens. You're older guy, but hey, listen, like the way Clevin played, I'd be fine with him being in my top 4. That guy could play as offside too. Hey, there's your big long D. So it's not the end of the world. Let's say Jensen misses the first little bit or whatever, misses some training. Like we said this on the show, and what I seen from Clevin, like he took massive steps this year, especially in the playoffs. So who knows? Maybe that opens up an opportunity, and Clevin slides in there, and then you address some of the depth parts of it. But he could easily play on his offside. Like that guy's got really good stick skills.
He works on his offside. Like I like watching him throughout the course of the season. Like he works on playing his offside a little bit in practice, like receiving pucks on his backhand and then pivoting and going. Like he's working at it. I've seen him work at it several times with Alfie. I don't know if he has designs of doing that in the future, but that would certainly be an option, because like the options in free agency are small. And I think if you look at Ottawa's prospect capital, they don't have a ton of valuable blue chip guys that they'd be willing to move. And same with the draft picks as well. Like, I don't know, Wally, like that was one of the interesting things that came out today. You mentioned it earlier. They're looking at potentially keeping this year's pick, which is interesting in itself, because this year's draft class is projected to be the weaker one of the two between 2025 and 2026. Like if this was the weaker class and you have a pick in like 2021 area, I don't know, maybe this is the year to give it up. But what did you make of that, Brent?
I think we're way overthinking this. I don't believe it's going to be reduced, but you wait until the end, until you have the ultimate final decision. Because right now the league doesn't have to do anything. They can say, well, we'll get back to you or whatever. Yeah. So they have a year to wait. Once that final decision gets made, then you decide what you're going to do with it. I'm not like, if they go to the second round next year, that pick is lower. So 21st to me isn't that big a deal. Like keep the pick. I'm not sure. Are they going to draft a player, or are they going to flip it for someone they need? So maybe they believe there's a need they need to address now. Dealing with it next year isn't that big a deal. If you're going to be a better team and you're going to get better, then that's a lower pick. I would.
You guys are you're overthinking it. Here's if you say we want to give the pick up this year, you're admitting that you're not sure. You don't think you're going to be better, and that to me is the wrong message you send to your team. You send to your fan base. It's like, of course we think we're going to get better. We made the playoffs. Now we're going to build off that and be a better hockey team. If you go into this thinking, we're kind of nervous that we're not going to be better, in this business, you can't think that way. You always got to think you're getting better. And if you don't have that mindset, you shouldn't be in this business.
So I think
hold on. I got some breaking news for you. As Nick Matten-Paolo has signed a 2-year extension, $875 per season.
Great signing. That's
expensive.
Headed to the World Championship.
Expensive. Thanks, Steve Staios, for dropping that nugget of information during today's availability.
He could have
so close to the chest. So close to the chest.
Yeah.
It's like you asked him, it's like, do you have anything to say about any of the players who are going to free agents? No, nothing to report. And then there you go. So Yorkie, just go back to your point. I think optics obviously play a role, but I think if you're talking about trading assets, as Wally alluded to, I think if you have a first round pick in 2026, that's exponentially more valuable than a late round pick in 2025. So I think if you are looking at using that pick to bring in an asset that you prefer for the short term, I think you keep the 2026 pick. And obviously you're not conceding anything by admitting that, if you flip a pick, you're not worried. Like, to me, I don't think you care about worrying about what the message is. If you think you're going to be better, or you think you're going to be worse. I think if you recognize that it's a stronger draft, and you're willing to move that pick or keep that pick, like, who cares? Like,
tell Dylan
the more
Larkin
valuable.
the message didn't matter at the trade deadline to the Detroit Red Wings.
Well, that's different. It's
not different. It's still the same message.
Different.
You're still telling the players the same message. Here we are trying to build you a winner. We'll do whatever it takes. We're keeping the pick. Next year, we'll worry about next year. But right now, we believe in this group, and we will do what it takes.
I think there's a huge difference between keeping the more valuable asset for tradable purposes than going into a deadline saying, hey, we're not adding anything to this group.
This draft is better than this draft is nonsense. You're dealing with one player at one pick. You don't know if that guy's going to be better than the guy in the next year's draft.
All the prognosticators are saying the 2026 draft is significantly better than 2025.
And how many of those prognosticators are general managers making the decisions? None.
Many of them wind up working for teams. I'm just saying.
No, I'm just telling you, all these people that go, oh, this guy's going to be great. I could tell you a million players that aren't playing in the National Hockey League that were drafted. Like, we make way too much out of the draft trying to figure out who's going to be the next whatever.
I do agree with that. The thing Ottawa has going right now is they're re-engaging the fan base. Like, we all saw that in the playoffs. There's a ton of momentum going, and momentum, you don't want to stop momentum by not having a draft pick, because it's like, we made the playoffs. Now we're going up to announce our first round pick. Like, don't forget, this is a new ownership group. They're excited to build. They don't have a lot in the cupboards. We know that in Belleville, like, they need some prospects. So I think it's a no-brainer to keep the pick this year, build off momentum, keep re-energizing and re-engaging the fan base. And the message is, we're just going to be even better next year. And that's why we're keeping this pick this year, because we're confident we're going to be better next year, and that pick's going to be lower. So you always want to admit the future is brighter, because, like I said, that's what this business is all about. It's about winning.
Mm-hmm. I will say though, it's like one of the messages that's obviously been like recurring over the past week and a half, where you talk to Travis Green, is like, or the players, especially David Perron, right? Like, it's only going to get harder next season. Ottawa's got a target on their back. There's lots of other teams in similar situations where it's like they're kind of in that same realm, in that middle ground where it's tough. Like, it's super tough. There's a lot of movement. Like, last year, we're talking about like the President's Trophy winning New York Rangers, who are now outside the postseason picture. Like, it's tough. It's tough. Situations change all the time. Adverse situations arise during the course of a season, and you could be out on the outside very quickly. So I don't know. It's an interesting topic of discussion.
Yeah. What did they say? Did they comment on it, on the pick?
They said they were going to keep it. And I think it's, for me, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, and Wally might disagree as well. But to me, it feels like they're kind of leading to letting the league make a decision down the road. They're just pushing it down the line, because I think I still think that, like Andlauer said earlier this season, like, he's still hopeful that they'll be able to recoup that pick back.
Well, there was a precedent set
Jersey.
With New Jersey. Yeah. With something, was it with Kovalchuk?
It was Kovalchuk, yeah. It was cap circumvention with Kovalchuk's contract.
What was the punishment again?
First round pick.
And then it dropped to a second, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
I think they got a pick. I think they got a pick at the end of the first round. So, like,
yes, they got pushed. You're still getting your pick, but it's at the end of the first round. So that's
and you can't trade it. I think that was the condition that they attached to it.
So I think the punishment's way too harsh. It's a brand new organization.
It has nothing to do with the brand new. Why do we keep doing this? It has nothing to do with a brand new organization. The fact that the person who made that decision was still involved with the organization is one of the reasons why it went the way it did. It also was because of the hearing they had, and Pierre Dorion didn't think it was a big deal. So you cannot go ahead and lie to the other organizations and then pretend it's not a big deal. Yeah. This has nothing to do with Michael Andlauer. This has everything to do with the organization.
Exactly.
They continued to employ Pierre Dorion.
All I'm hearing right now is Brent saying they should have fired Pierre as soon as Andlauer bought the team. That's all I heard.
And that would have been a fact.
Anyways, he's not here anymore. Andlauer is the owner.
It has nothing to do with the owner.
NHL should do the right thing and say, listen, here's a slap on the wrist. You keep your first round pick.
So why does then Vegas Vegas got punished because they tried to trade him and it didn't work out because they didn't have the right information.
Precedent was set with the Devils. That's all I can say.
And then I will say the league rolled out an app for all its front offices after the fact to disclose contractual information, no trade clauses, salary information, everything after the fact. It's like they're rolling out preventative stuff after this situation occurred, which is
because
bizarre.
Some guy decided he thought he would outsmart the league.
Smartest guy in the room. But essentially, like, I look at this app rollout and it's almost like an admission of culpability that the league bears some responsibility for not having a league-wide database that general managers and front offices can access to avoid these situations from happening in the first place.
Great. Let's just take all the blame off of where it should lie.
No, I'm not
of the general manager.
I think it was
decided he would not disclose the trade.
But 100% it was ignorant. It was incompetent. It was pure ignorance. And he'll probably never work in a front office ever again. So there's the punishment.
So one of the owners, when they took over this team, said, "I've never seen a bigger case of gross negligence in my life." That's why there's a penalty for a first round pick.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think it's too harsh.
Would you say that if it was Dallas?
I will say in Andlar's defense too. Like, the estate didn't disclose that, the league didn't treat it like it was a big deal, and as Andlar said, it would have impacted the negotiations of the sale. So
it wasn't
there is that element as well.
It was the organization that said it wasn't a big deal.
Sure, but it's all tied to the same thing. I don't know.
Should have been disclosed, though. It should have said, "Hey,
I know you're laughing about it, but
you're buying the team. You should know that you're probably going to lose a first round pick, just so you know." And he says, "Okay, well, you know what? You guys have jacked the price up on this team. You brought in this guy. You bid the team up on me. You just keep shoving. You just keep giving it to me." And there was a big. They brought in all these bidders, and they pretended all these guys were putting all this money in to jack the price up. And they said, "The least they could have done was say, just heads up. I know you're going to pay it, so you're going to."
All I can say is, if you take over a company, like at IBM, the same people are still at IBM. The company still exists. It's not because you just came in and took it over that they don't want to give you a fine for something you've done. That's the same idea here. There's a new owner, so you just ignore all. But
there's got to be full disclosure. I think one of
full
the things
disclosure, Wally.
But the league has struggled with full disclosure for a while. It was even the Pinto suspension. The Sens didn't really find out about it until the 11th hour too, right? It's just.
Yeah, that could have been a negotiating thing. It said, okay, we'll pay this much, but you know what? We're not losing that first rounder, and they probably would have got it. Because at the end of the day, the league wants the team going for the most amount of money, and they absolutely sure did that. They sure as hell did that. So that it's not going to impact the league by saying, you know what, forget about the first rounder. You're new owners. It doesn't matter. So they should have disclosed it. Graham's right.
Let's move on.
All right. Time for the ad race. Get ready, Canada. Playoff season is here, and Shoeless Joe's Sports Grill is in Kempville and Orleans, and they're coming in hot. They're serving up fresh, made-to-order dishes every day, and for a limited time, you can dive into our True North playoff menu, packed with bold flavors and fan favorites. But wait, the best part? Head to Shoeless Joe's, and you can win a trip to the Stanley Cup Finals. Whether it's a night out, a family dinner, or a game day with friends, Shoeless Joe's Sports Grill is your home for great food, big moments, and unbeatable vibes. Shoeless Joe's Sports Grill. Proudly Canadian, always legendary.
And this show also brought to you from our good friends at BEI. Spring is just around the corner, so it's time to give BEI a call for all your aggregate supply needs, as well as topsoil, custom crushing and screening, hot mix paving. They can do it all for you. So when you're planning your next project, please consider BEI for all your aggregate supply needs. You can reach them at 613-432-1120 or online at bonishexcavating.com. BEI helping to shape the Auto Valley.
Sorry,
Wally.
The 35-minute ad read. I was just waiting for it to be over. This show proudly presented to you by Bet365. Want to get on the action for the Stanley Cup playoffs at Bet365? They got you from game props to player props, totals, and the money line. You can even bet on futures like series winners, conference champions, and Stanley Cup champions, and much, much more. You can bet on the World Series champion too, if you want. Whatever your bet, it's never ordinary. Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game. An official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connectsontario.ca. Speaking of which, round 2 begins tonight as the Panthers and Leafs get underway. Gentlemen, I will get your picks on round 2 here. This will be an interesting series. I'm interested to see how this goes, but I'm hoping that the Florida Panthers put the boots to the Toronto Maple Leafs, but we shall see. Right now, Toronto, actually, Florida is the odds-on favorite in tonight's game, so we'll see how that plays out. Okay, let's take a look back now. Of the 8 series, how many do we think Graeme Nichols correctly predicted out of 8 series?
I think 3.
That is correct. You were atrocious.
3 for 8.
I was close. Yeah. I picked St. Louis and Minnesota. And
yeah, but you're not close. You're 3 for 8.
But nobody picked those teams.
I don't understand how you
Those series were so close. Those were coin flips.
They were close. They were close.
Yeah, well, they aren't. Okay. Yorkie.
I think I was pretty good.
How many did you get right out of 8?
Well, I know I had Carolina. Oh, I did take Tampa. I think I was probably 5 out of 8, maybe 5 out of 8.
Yorkie, I have you taking Florida in 6.
Nice.
There you go.
So you had 6 out of 8 correct. You had the Sens and you had Colorado.
Yeah, not bad.
And then, of course, the only one that you correctly predicted in games is Washington in 5.
Nice. Well, that's a tough one picking the games.
Yeah. So I tied.
I picked Dallas. We tied. There you go.
Yeah. I took the Kings over Edmonton. That was my downfall.
Yeah, not very smart.
And so I correctly predicted Vegas in 6. So we tied in that round. We tied.
Not bad. 6 out of 8 for each. But Graeme, how did you only get 3?
Oh, but he was close. Remember, he was close.
So we all lost on the Senators, right?
Yeah, we all got swept on the Sens. That's the only series we got swept on.
Yeah.
We all picked Washington. That was the only other series we all agreed on. Anyway, okay, so here we go into today's round 2. Let's start with Dallas and Winnipeg. That was a hell of a game last night. Dallas, Winnipeg. Connor Hellebuyck is the big question mark of this series.
Mm-hmm.
Graeme Nichols, since you were the worst,
I can in good conscience take Winnipeg. I can't. Not a chance.
What's going on with Scheifele back? Is Scheifele back?
Well, he didn't play.
Didn't play in Game 7. So
and then Josh Morrissey left after 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm taking
a lot
Dallas.
of questions.
Okay, Graeme, so you're taking Dallas.
I don't know. Go ahead, Wally. I don't know who to pick here.
I'm sticking with my Stars. I have them going to the Cup final, I believe. So I got Dallas. Man, I think it's going to be 6. I think Winnipeg might be a little banged up for them. We'll see. But then again, there's no Robertson, and I don't know when Heiskanen's coming back, so they're also dealing with some injuries. Anyway, Yorkie,
people forget about how good Rupa Hintz is. That guy is such a good player. He's big, fast, and skilled. God, Harley is playing amazing on their blue line.
Dallas has done such a good job of drafting outside the first round with like those 2nd through 4th round picks. Yeah. It's like if you look through their draft history, it's unbelievable what they've been able to accrue in talent. It's unbelievable.
Okay, Yorkie.
If Scheifele's healthy, and Morris, we don't know the information on this. Wally, come on.
Just
that was like our Florida Tampa picks. Our Florida Tampa picks were the same way.
If Winnipeg's healthy, I'm taking Winnipeg. I just don't know if they're healthy.
Okay, so Winnipeg in how many games? Because I can't keep going here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Dallas in 7. Well, Scheifele's hurt, and they're missing their best defenseman. Although Neil Pionk last night put on a performance for all performances. He was fantastic last night.
You know what that series taught us last night?
What's that?
What was how far Ottawa still has to go?
Well, don't forget,
think so?
Ottawa's super young, Wally.
I know,
baby steps here.
That game last night that's a full-on playoff game. Every inch of ice was fought over in that game.
Still a ton of mistakes, though. There's guys making mistakes out there. A lot.
Sure, but that's every game.
Winnipeg. What scares me about them not being able to win is they don't make a lot of plays. It's just advance the puck up the boards, dump it in, try and get it back. Ehlers and Connor down the middle. there's not a lot going on with that team as far as a guy that can really, like a Stutzla or other teams, like they just don't have a game breaker. Ehlers or Connor's their game breaker, but he's a winger. So yeah, it's Hellebuck, man. The pressure's off him now. The pressure's off.
For me,
Hellebuck
it's watching
now.
Florida play. You watch Florida play, and you're like, that is a powerhouse team.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm just even talking St. Louis, who were just getting into the playoffs. Like that, they are a hell of a team. Now, they didn't generate much, I didn't think, in overtime. But they just play a hard game. All right, Yorkie, Vegas, Edmonton. And maybe let's not take 10 minutes.
So tough. So tough. I love Vegas. Man, Big D. Their D are massive. Again, I need to know, is Matthias Ekholm healthy? Is he back? If he's back, I'm taking Edmonton. My, oh my. I think I'm going to take Vegas. I'm going to take Vegas just based on Jack Eichel and their massive D. Mark Stone factor. Stoner's a playoff warrior. I'll take Vegas in 7.
Come back to Yorkie tomorrow. Oh, that's excellent.
Just say that there's so much to take in here. Like Wally's asking us for these games.
I got Vegas in 6. It's that simple. It's that simple. Okay.
It's not. It's
Yorkie
not.
needs to word things differently. This is a family talk show. There you go. I don't even know what you said, but you're in trouble. Okay, Graeme, Edmonton, Vegas.
I'll just take Vegas. I can't trust Edmonton's goaltending.
It's so bad.
Okay, how many games?
6.
Okay. Washington, Carolina.
I'm taking Carolina. Carolina in 6.
Me too.
Done.
Same thing.
You happy? That was quick.
Yeah, no, very impressive. So I feel like I should take Washington just to be stubborn.
Take them.
But I think it's Carolina. Although, you know what? I'm taking
Wally.
Washington.
Let's go. Hurry up. Let's go. Come
Washington 6. Okay. Finally, Toronto, Edmonton. Graeme, I'm going to start back with you. Sorry, Toronto, Florida. I apologize.
Florida 5.
Florida 5.
Wow. Yorkie.
Panthers in 6.
Well, I can't take the Leafs. That's just
sure you can.
No, but I'm gonna that's a 7-game series to me. Florida in 7. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna save those. Come back to them later and see how we all made out. I meant to get back to something with Steve. Oh, so for those of you who may have just tuned in late, and we've already talked about it, Nick Matenpalo signed a new 2-year extension for $875 per year. He will pair with Tyler Kleven, maybe. Tyler Kleven. Someone said it was interesting that Travis Green didn't give him a lot of love today, or came back to the he was struggled. We need him to be better. Sounds like he came into camp out of shape. Graeme, I'm just curious of what you took from I'll say he continued to give him a little more hard love today.
Yeah, I gave him a lot of I think that
I do appreciate it though. Just so we're saying, I
100%.
appreciate the fact that Travis Green didn't go like every play. He's great. We love playing. He's took a big step this year. He's going to be a hell of a player. He was very honest.
Yeah, I thought his candor today was probably the best it's been in months, for maybe the entire season. Whether it was talking about Kleven or the players in general, he essentially said, if this team is going to take a big step forward, these guys need to have big off seasons. And I think what you just said about Tyler Kleven, we shared that small anecdote about him not arriving in camp in the best shape last fall, kind of speaks to that. They need all these guys on board playing at a high level, showing up to camp in shape, being ready to go, because they can't afford to have slow starts. They can't afford those November swoons. If this team's going to take that step forward, they need to be firing all cylinders from the get-go, playing at a high level throughout the course of the season, and then carrying that through and hopefully into the postseason. And that's where they need to be. It's they can't, we keep talking about this team being a young team. It's but now you've experienced postseason play. You know what you have to do to play at that level and have success at that level. So now you have to take that ownership and extend that through the offseason and be ready to go come fall.
Travis is a smart guy. I really like how he handles the players. Tyler Cleven's played 1 year in the NHL.
Yep.
For as much praise as I've given him for his playoffs and everything, the hardest thing about making the NHL isn't making the NHL. It's playing and staying in the league. And obviously he's a first rounder. He's going to stay in the league. But worst thing you could do is just go goo and gaga over a player after his first year. It's like, no, he was good. He was good. Slow start. Came on, was really good down the stretch. And do it again. Be better. Like it's you got to just keep earning what you get in this league. And it's all about what you can do consistently over time. For good year went well, or first year went well, bad start, continued, got better. So I think he's handling it the exact right way. It's like, yeah. If that is true that he came in out of shape, hey, now it's time to get yourself in shape and do what you did at the end of the year, at the beginning of the year, and build off what you did. So I think it's great messaging. Yep, it was good. Now do it again. We got to get better. We made the playoffs. It was great. Because you got to be careful about giving young guys too much and praising them too much.
Right. Can we also remember it's the National Hockey League? They're not
National Hockey League.
Your
it's different. Like Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux's played over 1,000 games in the league. He's earned the right for people to say, yeah, he's this and that, and the way players. When you're a young guy, and I respect that because it's kind of gotten lost in today's NHL. Guys get so much so fast. They get big contracts so fast. It's like, no. Travis played in the league a long time. He understands the process and he understands, hey, good year, do it again. That's how it works.
See how it plays out. I think that was like the only real tidbits of information we got today.
Timbits?
Tidbits. No, Timbits are what you have in the car when you pick someone up for a long drive. Timbits.
Yes, and coffee.
Tidbits are when you give up information. You had nothing in the car. In fact, your car wasn't even cleaned for me.
That's very
wow.
Wally. Oh,
wow. Shots fired.
Oh, wow. All I wanted, Graeme, was on our ride home together when I got up extra early to make sure he was back on time for the skate. Actually, risked my perfect driving record. I haven't had a ticket in over 25 years. I actually went over the speed limit just to get Wally home on time. The least thing he could have done was had a coffee waiting for me in the morning. He had one for himself, though.
I can't complain, though. He took care of me. He took care of me on the way home.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he took care of himself on our ride home.
I didn't get you a coffee, so you'd be a little angrier and you would drive a little quicker.
Well, I did do that. I forgot your home. And you loved my driving, didn't you?
Well, I didn't have to drive. I just had to work.
Well, you loved my driving.
Emails.
He was going hard. He was working hard.
Like, all I do is work. At least you could do is drive.
We done here? What's going on?
It is the off season, which means we are taking a little bit more time. I think we'll end up down to 3 shows a week, and then eventually after July or whatever, down to 2 shows a week. But we'll keep you posted as we go here. But don't forget, tomorrow we're back at 9 a.m. and then Wednesday, Shane Pinto will join us. Until tomorrow morning, we will enjoy our evening, gentlemen. See you guys later. Thanks, everybody.
See you, everybody.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in to Coming In Hot. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode.